because we all have that motivation that we want to create this better life. But sometimes when we have these old toxic beliefs, they get in the way. And what you've found, it sounds like, is you've really used this type of medicine in order to help rewire your brain and to become aware while being intentional about the kind of life that you're trying to create. So what I'd love to talk a little bit about is you've been in this position, you were in venture capital, you were advising, million or billion-dollar funds, and you're making a ton of money doing it. But it sounds like there was some lack of fulfillment that was happening there. So talk to me about, as you step out of that, as inspiration for all those people who are in a career they don't love or are trying to find love within the career that they're in. What is that vision for the life that you're working on creating today? And then separately, I want to come back and talk about kind of how you went through that process of discovering and deciding to step into this new life.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that comes down to authenticity. And what was your authentic self, my authentic self, your audience authentic self before they were conditioned, brainwashed by all that crap from their parents, from the society and all that. And for me, what was very important was to look at doing something I was very passionate about. I'm still the same person. I think at my core, my authentic self is driven, loves success and loves achievement. That's just who I am as a person. We're all different, and I don't think that's all people should be. I know that's what society praise, but I don't think everyone is like that. And we should align with what's important for us. I don't have children. I never wanted a family. I know many people want children, which is why it's so important to have exactly the plan you're talking about. Passive income, spending time with your family, spending time on what's important for you. People like me, my husband, we love working, we love success, we have a different lifestyle. So you need to know what's good for you. And I think that's really what is the most important for people who are listening. What's good for Steven is not what's good for Peggy, and it's not what's good for you. So And that's very important. What is your authentic self? And, as much as I loved what I was doing, I love the VC world, super fun. I love the finance, investments, all that great stuff, which I would still do, but in psychedelics, while in the past I was doing that in technology. So I still keep that angle because I really like the intellectual exercise. So I just love that. It's just that I thought that if I can help people around me to, overcome the challenges I faced. I keep saying that, like every day I'm having people asking me questions. Oh, can I do this? You seem to have found something that works, like explain me, or do you do that? And it's very interesting to see how many of us are not really living the life we want, but we are not capable of getting out of that, And honestly, had I had the knowledge that I have now in terms of this magic combo, and I'm air quoting for people listening and not seeing the video of microdosing psilocybin and tapping, if I had that 20 years ago, my life would be widely different and widely more pleasant. So if I can help people, whether they're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, listen, I'm trying to help my parents who are in their 70s, you know what? That's worthwhile. So my goal is to combine what I love, finance, with helping people. And that is under the psychedelic purview, basically. I know that sounds a bit difficult maybe for people to connect the dots, but that's how I look at it.
Well, what I love about this, and for the audience to recap, some really important things that you can take away when you're creating your vision, right? Peggy is in a position where she's had a lot of success. She knows what she likes. She knows who she is. So she's clear on that. She's passionate. She's driven. She loves achievement. But it sounds like, Peggy, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you really enjoyed what you're doing and you've dedicated your life to it, but maybe there was a lack of fulfillment, or maybe there was a realization that you could be even more fulfilled and have even more meaning by going through the process of helping directly support other people to have this same realization that you've had. And I want to just say that that is one of the things that I found most highly successful and happy people have. People who are both successful and happy are doing it because they found something that works for them and they want to help as many people through that process. So it's inevitable that you'll get wealthy when you're going down a path and you do something you love and you help a lot of people doing it. But it's not inevitable that you're going to be happy unless you have that component where it's more about the meaning and the fulfillment that comes from helping support others. And I've personally found that myself. I've made a lot of money. I've had a lot of fun doing it. But the process of being able to deliver this information back out to you is because I've had a personal realization based on the struggles that I experienced growing up and going through my own development to get to this point. And so for all of you who are listening, you have an opportunity to sit down and create a vision that's going to really excite you, because I don't know if you can see it and feel it the same way that I can, but Peggy is excited about life. And that's exactly the place that I want everyone to be.
And thank you, Steven. That's an amazing point. Like it's not, making tons of money is amazing. We all want to make tons of money because it makes life more exciting. If you can travel to places, money gives you access to experiences. So it's important to have money because it does give you access. At the same time, it needs to come, and you mentioned it, from a place of joy, from a place of excitement, from a place of feeling you are at your right place. And it has nothing to do with how much you have in your bank account. It's more having to do with, am I living the right life? So I had a conversation last week. I'm on boards of companies, and one of the board members at the same company is asking me to go for lunch. And I know when people do that, they're like, okay, they want to know more about how they can, work my regimen, the microdose diet. And a wonderful individual. I would have never, guessed that he was so unhappy, so anxious, so depressed, and so on. And he told me, so he's a CEO of a very large company. He's also a chairman of an even bigger company. And he's like, you know what? My dream has always been to be an artist, and my father as well. But you know what? We were in business in my family from I think 5 or 6 generations, something like that. And I just did it. And you know what? The goal is not for him to microdose and tap his way out of his success. That's absolutely not that. People are afraid maybe, oh my God, I'm going to transform too much and now I'm going to sell baskets on a beach in Hawaii. That's not what I'm saying. But you can find joy and excitement and peace in what you're doing today. So for the people who are listening to us, what is very important is also where you are right now doesn't have to change overnight. You can also find more joy, find more authenticity where you are. And I think that's really what's going to get you more excited. And as Steven was saying, more successful. You don't have to change everything tomorrow to be able to get to where you want to be. It's a different approach.
It's such a good point. So, what I'm curious about is, you've had this success, you're advising large investment funds, you're now on this journey and helping tons of people have some realizations that can really help improve the quality of their life. From a financial independence perspective, talk to me about where you're at and what are some of the strategies that you've used up until this point to be able to create passive income or be able to create that safety net to know that you can then step out and go after kind of this life vision or life mission that you have?
Yeah. So the first thing is, and when I say we, my husband and I, because we manage our money ourselves, we invest. We don't gamble. Yeah. We don't trade. We invest. And what I'm trying to say is that we don't jump into the crypto craze. We don't jump into the last meme stock. So it's very, very important to keep your head cool and to not listen to what's happening around you. And we're surrounded by people in finance, and a lot of them are actually institutional investors. But you'd be surprised, the peer pressure, people are so afraid of missing out. Yeah. That's why you see all the stupid investments and, like the banks falling one after another. It's because also people have FOMO. So, yesterday I was at a cocktail party. My neighbor said he was investing in that stupid company. I cannot understand why, but if he's doing it, I'm going to do it. Don't do that. So be really strategic, be very disciplined, and stay away from the trends. Stay away from the trends unless you understand a very, very strong momentum behind that. And, like the fundamentals are strong and you understand, that business can be profitable or that piece of real estate or, so for me, that's probably the most important thing. Invest, don't gamble, don't trade.
Yeah. And so really what you're saying is be disciplined, be intentional, have a plan, have a purpose behind that plan, be strategic in those decisions that you're making. But it really stems off of having the knowledge, right? If you're hearing some friend of yours talk about something that they really like, but you lack the knowledge to evaluate that opportunity, it's something you likely shouldn't get involved in. In order to get involved in that opportunity, you first have to gather and gain a bunch of knowledge to then have the confidence to make that decision. Exactly.
Jumping in the bandwagon because people do something, that's how people get conned. It's a mixture of greed and misunderstanding.
Yes.
So someone is selling you returns that don't really make much sense, but you really want them. Your friends are doing them. You have no clue how that person can do that. Listen, if people are pitching you returns that are extremely good, there is something illegal in it. Markets are efficient, like no one can get incredible
Your experience
returns.
Is primarily in the equity markets, it sounds like. You're talking about equity, like stocks and things like this. That is kind of primary your vehicle.
Whether it's private or public, it's the same rationale. If it's too good to be true, but debt can be the same thing. If it's too good to be true, it's probably because it's extremely risky. And the chance for you to get your return is very low. And that's one thing I want to mention. Invest for your situation. Mm-hmm. What is your age? What can you afford to lose? If you want to do speculative investment, that's great, but that should just be a very small part of your portfolio. The rest should be, capital preservation, capital appreciation, and then speculation, not speculation 90% and, capital preservation, So you need to understand that all you were investing 5 years ago is not all you're going to invest in 15 years because you're going to have hopefully more money. You're also going to be closer to retiring. So you really need to be very strategic and mindful of what makes sense for you, not for your neighbor.
And with that knowledge, you can be in a position to know what phase of strategy you should be using in your portfolio. If you're young and you have a small pool of investable assets, you probably need to be focused on growth. Speculation being things like crypto or some kind of SPAC or something that is high risk, high reward, that's 1% to 5% of your portfolio or less. But if you're a young person, you're focused on growth. If you're somebody who is later in your career or you have a big pool of money, then preservation is probably a large focus point, making sure that you can create the income that you need to be able to create your life if that's the path that you're going. So Peggy, for you, are you using investments in order to create passive income that allow you to live the life you're living? Or is everything that you've been focused on from an investment standpoint been about growth and appreciation for the long term, that at someday, maybe in the future, you'll be able to, live off that cash at some point?
It's a mix of both, So we have some investments like real estate, which is really about capital preservation, some appreciation. In Toronto, the market has been so hot. Even if you're just doing it for preservation, it ends up being appreciation, which is good. I like it. And our portfolio is growth / preservation. So we're doing it. I don't believe in huge risks. I think you lose if you go for huge risks. And keep in mind that the mindset is different by countries as well. American, very, very risk focused, very risk focused. Canadian, I'm French. I live in Canada, but I'm French. European, Canadian, way more conservative. So you also see different type of investments based on the cultural mindset. So something that might be seen high risk for a Canadian might be average risk for an American. So you also have a bit of this difference. So we are medium risk for a Canadian, which might be medium less for an American. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been really great.
Thank you for listening to the Investor Mindset Podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share with a friend. Head over to theinvestormindset.com to join the Insider Club, where we share tools and strategies from the top investors and entrepreneurs on how to take it to the next level.